Welcome to Coping with COVID-19, an editorially independent program from the editors of Modern Aesthetics Magazine and Practical Dermatology Magazine. After more than a year of virtual conferences, many medical meetings are returning to live formats. In this episode, a panel of aesthetic physicians discusses the return to in-person conferences and how they envision the future of these meetings. Panelists include Drs. Michael Gold, Doris Day, Mark Nestor, Joel Schlesinger, and Amy Taub.
All right, so let's turn, and we touched on it briefly, but let's turn to the concept of in-person meetings and your thoughts and what you're going to be doing and so forth. So, but I would assume, knowing this crowd, everybody's ready to go, and but carefully. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, I mean, carefully and right. So my first in-person meeting was 2 weeks ago, a Florida Society Dermatology meeting. It's in Florida, and basically no one was wearing a mask except myself and Mark Lebowell, who was speaking. And I think by the end of that, my uncomfortableness is that, I know that if I wear a mask, an N95 or KN95, and I'm vaccinated, I'm pretty well protected from myself. But at the same time, it's just not, an issue. I had lunch today with Dow Regal for the fall clinical. They are going to, be very clear in requiring masks for fall clinical. And they have 1,200 people coming. They're going to require masks. They're talking about, telling people they need to get vaccinated. They're hoping that because it's all dermatologists, 95+% will be vaccinated anyway. But they're making a mandate, more or less for the industry as well to say, hey, it's critical that you do this. I'm looking forward to Scale. That's the next big one that's coming up. And,
I've been to two meetings. I went to the Vegas cosmetic surgery, and outside of the faculty lounge and my speaking engagements, I barely walked around anywhere. The exhibit hall was pretty empty, but nobody wore masks in Vegas. Which is also part of the problem, Mark. You're in Vegas, and nobody outside of the bubble of where your meeting is in masks,
right?
And that's a problem. Then I went to
naturally exchange. The Las Vegas Health Department just instituted inside mask policy.
That's good. I like that. And then I was in last weekend or 2 weekends ago. I was in Orlando at a place called Champions Gate, which is like being in Disney World without being in Disney World. And there was 100-person, it was called Perspectives in Aesthetic Medicine. And we all wore masks, the 100 of us, but the thousands of people around us, there wasn't one mask in sight.
Right.
And so even when you were walking, the pools were packed, the golf courses were packed. I've never seen that many people that wasn't in Disney in an Orlando resort. And there were 8 weddings going on at that hotel, and not one person was in a mask. But in our little bubble of our meeting space, everybody was wearing masks, industry and docs and attendees. So, and then at Scale, obviously.
I went to cosmetic boot camp in June, but that was way back in June. And I felt pretty comfortable because at that time, things weren't bad. And not too many people at the meeting were wearing a mask. But now if I were to go to a mask meeting, I would, for sure, I'm going to be masked at my grocery store. So for sure at a meeting, I'm going to go masked.
Yeah, I think masks are what you need to be. At least for now. At least for now. I think that's a must for everybody. That we have to do. So, Joel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think masks are essential right now. And for our upcoming meeting, Cosmetic Surgery Forum, we're going to enforce masks. And I think the only question comes down to those people that are attending, whether we will require vaccination status. And I'm tending towards that because, again, I would rather have people submit their vaccination status and not come than to have somebody come to the meeting that is going to infect everybody or, cause problems. So It's not worth it for safety purposes to not allow a non-vaccinated person in, and that will go to vendors. That will include vendors as well. So hopefully we'll stay safe as well.
Hopefully by December, things will be a lot better.
Let's hope.
And so Doris, how about you?
I am not huge on masks if you've been vaccinated, and I like the idea that there's a way to tell if people are at the meeting that you're going to be around or vaccinated. So if Joel has a system where he can ensure that the people at the meeting are vaccinated and feel good about that, then I would feel good about being there without a mask. I think that I'm going to count on that vaccine to protect me enough that I can emote and be as normal as possible and sort of live my life, and get the third vaccine if I can, look for other medications to be supportive so that if somebody should get COVID, it won't be so bad and they will otherwise come out of it fine. But I guess having worked in medicine for so many years, seeing the things that I've seen and understanding that we always have to weigh risks and benefits. I don't want anybody to get sick of anything. I don't want anyone to die of anything, but we always have to take some risk. And for me, I don't think that the masks and the way that people are wearing masks, or we should call them face coverings, are necessary for people who've been vaccinated. And if you want to encourage people to get vaccinated, then there should be something that comes with that. It doesn't go get vaccinated and then still do all those things that you would do as if you were unvaccinated. It should be that if you're vaccinated, we're going to assume that you're able to mount an immune response. And if you get a little sick, you won't feel good for a while, but chances are low that anything horrible is going to happen to you. And if you get sick, we're going to look at these medicines that might be able to help you not get so sick. So I feel like it's a matter of being as reasonable as possible and kind of getting on with life and trying to get to that next stage. But I'm hopeful that it won't be so bad. And by the time we get to our meetings, we'll be at the bottom end of this curve and we'll be able to have a more comfortable set of meetings. But I was at cosmetic boot camp. Nobody wore a mask. And unfortunately, that was a better time. So hopefully we'll be at a better time soon.
How about international meetings? Any thoughts?
I think other countries are being so careful, and I don't have any international meetings planned right now till next June. So I'm hopeful that, the rest of the world is different, right? So in the rest of the world, they don't have vaccines the way we have vaccines. They have different stats, different issues than we have. And I haven't really researched what the safety is and what the numbers are in other places because I'm concerned with where we are. So I don't have any international meetings planned, and I hope that we get back to it soon. But we're ahead of.
What's in June?
Next June is BTS.
What's BTS?
Beauty Through Science. It was supposed to be in Sweden this June, but they moved it to Miami. And actually that meeting too I was at, nobody was wearing masks. And fortunately it was a better time. And there was international people there, but there was no uptick in any of us in getting COVID after that. So none of us seemed to be worse for the wear for not having worn masks. And maybe we're just lucky, but I don't think so. I think that, we were all careful enough.
How about you, Joel? Any international world?
Well, I'm not sure where Dassel is as of now. Are we still on for Mexico City?
We are on for Mexico City the end of October.
So that will be my first.
Okay, good.
So I'll do Dazzle, but I'll do it remotely. It's all
right. We're gonna go to Mexico. How about you? Abe? Anything planned?
Right now, I'm planning on coming.
To Dazzle?
Yeah.
Good.
That's my international meeting.
I'm waiting to see about IMCAS. I mean, it's that simple. We're waiting to see what the status is from the French government. I mean, I speak to them all the time, and we're waiting to see what the French government's going to say. And they keep going up and down. Oh yeah, we're positive. And then, oh, look at the Delta variant. So it's really hard to say.
My international are right now is Dazzle and Paris, maybe Face if they do Face, but other than that, that's in June in London. That's why I asked about which one you were going to. But yeah, obviously there's 800 more meetings And then Dazzle 2022 will be in Bangkok. And God only knows if they'll be ready, but we'll see. And Barcelona will be in September in 2022 as well.
Wow, that sounds great. All sounds
So,
great.
yeah, I mean, it's like weird. We've been to some of these places, so many times, and now it's like, do you want to go back? And are we ready to go back? And that's the biggest
Who doesn't want to
hurdle.
go back to Barcelona? That's not.
I mean, all those places sound amazing. I'd love to go to any of them, but
Yeah.
Definitely,
hopefully
I can't
it'll be
wait to go
better.
back to Bangkok.
Yeah.
I did a Zoom call with one of the laser companies for the Asia Pacific region, and every one of them are like, okay, Dr. Gold, when can you come back? When can you come back? And we can't go. I mean, I'm not sure but we're like banned from China for the like to the end of the year. So at least
Probably to the end of the millennium,
yeah, we're not going to China for a while, so it's really sad, but I still Zoom a lot over there. So I think Zoom has been an amazing contraption, for all of us to be able to do these calls and to be able to, at least communicate, in a way that we did. I did a Zoom meeting for an oculoplastic group on Sunday. I was in the car, but we had Achima from Bangkok, Chitra from India, somebody else from Europe. I was on, and I was the only one that pre-recorded my lecture because I was driving. But then we all got on a 30-minute question and answer period together. And it was so much fun just talking, and hearing their voices live.
And I do think that it's going to be a blend in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To be able
But
to.
you know what? Having been live, there's nothing like being together.
I agree.
No,
When
but
you're talking about
yeah.
international friends and colleagues, it's really not that easy to get everybody in one place. You could have more frequent meetings if you had some meetings that were smaller.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need is more frequent meetings. Just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the big, the biggest question is which meetings will survive in 2022. And there's a whole bunch of new ones that have sort of organized themselves for the end of 2021 and so forth. And so we'll see if the support is there, but the reality is the companies are so itching to get back to live meetings that they're willing to support a lot. And Joel, you and I will talk more. I mean, they're itching to all be back live. So
because they can't sell things.
it's harder to sell virtually.